evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight with episode number 43, the third one for my book, High Five, the William Shakespeare Beat is Back. The subject tonight is making a sonnet out of the Rhyme Royal of Chaucer. He used the 7-beat line with the, we'd call it pre-Shakespeare, 5-beat structure, but his rhyme scheme was A, B, B, C, C. Triple B rhyme, and I discovered that if you put two of them together, and each is 7, you have, lo and behold, 14 lines, which is the magic number for sonnets. You could call that a sonnet if you wished. So far as I know, no one has ever done that, but that's fine. I'm not going to research it. I would rather just feel like a pioneer, because I had the spirit, and still have it, of the inventor, and a playful inventor, too. Let me give you a few playful warm-ups for my Chaucer-influenced Rhyme Royal, doubled Rhyme Royals, sonnet. Chaucer used this, by the way, in his book, The Parliament of Birds. He would have said perhaps parlement or parlement of foules, fowls, equivalent to birds. 14th century English is a little different from ours, and when I get around to quoting something from him, I'll modernize it for you in modern English verse. Anyway, let's start with poem 173. It's time! It's time to do what for a while I've not attempted, though I love the exercise of nomad roaming. Let poetic eyes the flowing motion follow that they've caught, a fountain to discover yet unsought, that from a river underground may rise, from let it be to let it come, a wise, relaxing maxim made that rhyme be wrought. We're in a regal mood, Rhyme Royal, try. Too long the folk in vain have battles fought. One has to take a breather by and by, the straight and crooked seek, the low and high, and let the couplet movement free arrive to dance the prance, or livelier, the jive. 174, continued. Let's follow up our findings, if we may. Did you a dulcet melody imbibe, that now in memory you'd like to play? Or even more, if these I might inscribe? If so, then welcome to the rhymer tribe. I'll sing a floral couplet pointing out my sonnet, double royal rhyme will shout. Yet such a coupling's altogether new, or so from my experience 'twould seem. Such thing I never had beheld. Had you? Well, that's why poetry's a waking dream. What happened? Quite implausible, I'd deem, yet lauded loud my visionary friend, who came from never rest to never end. Little bit of wordplay there with Mount Everest. Now comes 175, which is called Conclamant. That means shouting together. The twice Rhyme Royal sonnet is a treat, which, while I drink my coffee, I'll present. Within the bird-like spirit world I'll tweet that angel who to me the gift had lent, with lesson message of express intent, that I should be the bringer of a bliss. Be blessed, brave messenger, I give you this. O point of life, which at the border line of darkness formed the source of lumen clear, I'd here set forth your mystery divine, your herald first I heard with heaven ear. Let wisdom be, deep heart-mind I revere, the tone that evermore may soul avail, your music hearkening to love I hail. From Chaucer to me. Now it's time to versify a 7-liner Rhyme Royal strophe or stanza by Chaucer, and then comment on it in the latter half of my new-formed sonnet. The life so short, the craft so long to learn, the attempt so hard, so sharp the battle fought, the dreadful joy that yet to me would turn, all this I mean by love, which feelings hot, astonished with the wonder works it taught, so painfully that when thereon I think, I'm sore perplexed. Do I then float or sink? Turns out our father Chaucer was the first to use rhyme royal, parliament of birds, to show you how discerningly he versed. With richest rhythm, I in modern words have sung the opening with B-rhyme thirds. Will these my songs a bird assemblage be? I'm going to try it for a while. We'll see. Next one I call Hispanic. Here I'm bringing in, you may remember from the first of my three epilogues, or rather episodes to High Five, that I was conversing for quite a while with Spanish folk singers. Here I have appropriated that style, but instead of quoting an actual Spanish singer, I wrote my own little thing in the Spanish style, as I hope, and then I comment on it. Grimly drippy grey, the grave horizon speeds the haze away with aid from you. Wilding fire that gave new life to eyes in blaze of lightning, gaze turned grey to blue. Quickly I'll inscribe a tribute to Heaven, queen of sailors, brave entreaty, heeds the cry when alien skies are sleety. Mother Muse, you're all I need to aid me, bringing daily fresh bouquet of rhyme. Lady blessed, no cloudy frown afraid me. Fragrant prayers I'll write till closing time. Dead arise, they hear the church bell chime. Rose geranium and morning glory, help me tell a lover's grateful story. My lover may be deemed to be the muse, the goddess of poetry. And here's a last warm-up. For anecdotes of what is never known, Rhyme Royal brings our preference to mind. Exhilarating stories of his own, the master of our form abjured, we find. He claimed regret that ever he'd designed the youth-corrupting Canterbury tales. Remarkable, the way one feels one fails. We have his apology for having written his masterpiece. Isn't that astonishing? And it happens in literary history more than once. The novels 3 that Kafka left behind, he thought perhaps that Brod, his friend Max Brod, might understand his wish that they would be to fire consigned. Brod disobeyed. Be thanked, be thanked. But why would Virgil give the dire command? His masterly Aeneid, lofty, grand, must ere his death annihilated be. That was his order. It wasn't listened to either. Could I contain an equal mystery? Well, playing games, you know. Now I'm going to give you what you might call the featured item in my presentation today, which is a range of a few applications of the new form to all kinds of different situations. First, we get a memoir, a memory from very, very early in my life. You'll see how early. Early memory, poem 234. Again returns an early memory. A theater, perhaps the Harris Grand, the Princess, Indiana. Each could be a place of happiness at my command. My Saturday delight, you'll understand. Three Stooges are the folks that jokes outpour. I'm laughing hard. I've landed on the floor. The seats are thin. I'm small. I simply fell. A seizure, a convulsive burst, a fit. The longer it goes on, the better. Spell, benign possession, I could label it. And so relentless, it won't ever quit. Oh, please don't stop. I'm so much loving this. I'm writhing on the floor in perfect bliss. Must have been, 6 years old? Now, here's a rhyme royal about an annoying noise. We all have little annoyances in our lives. I thought, there's nothing stops you from making that into a rhyme royal sonnet. It jarred my ear. The quiet neighborhood with high-pitched beeps all day had been aspersed. That means sprinkled with a scattering. By afternoon, still pained, I understood. A snowplow, when the motion is reversed, will warning tones emit. We had the worst of snows for many months. When cleared away, it left the mood improved, I have to say. It's warm, and I'm relaxed, again may write. Come harmony, return to charm the heart, the swelling measured lines I here indite. Let calm and gratitude at last impart the taste of life, sweet, salty, bitter, tart. Says Ayurveda, there it ought to be. Mayhap that's what the day has taught to me. I went to an Ayurvedic restaurant in New York City, and that's a memory of that is included here. Now, what am I going to do next with this new form? I'll set a Psalm of David in it. This is called Psalm 150 in Rhyme Royal. That may be my favorite of the Psalms because that's the one which consists almost entirely of nothing but a listing of musical instruments to be played when the Psalms are sung. Praise God within his sanctuary and upon his firmament in sovereignty. Praise him for acts of mightiest command. For worlds of greatness let him lauded be. With sound of trumpet and with psaltery, that's a primitive kind of harp, and with the timbrel and the dance, and him with stringed instrument in hands. With organ laud him, and on cymbals loud, and on the higher sounding cymbals too. Let all that godly breath have glad avowed, chant praise, adoring, glorifying you. That's all he has to say in Psalm 150, but I want to continue. Let rising on horizon, gold on blue, dear singing soul with gift from one above, proclaim innumerable names of love. In boyhood not so very long ago, these lines in David's Hebrew did I say, though starting from my station here below, I'd not depart for places far away, but in unbounded beating heart would stay. O giver of my art, my constant friend, I sing and with what I've been sent, transcend. Oh, this is a lot of fun. Here I incorporate a line that I have written in a number of poems. I enjoyed coming up with it so much, and the line is, I want to write what never wasn't there. When starting out to resurrect the five, the Shakespeare meter's seeking to restore, for modern times to make it come alive, renewing will on things and themes galore, I so was favored. Aye, but something more was granted by the grand sire of our lines, the stanza gift of Chaucer one divines. I want to write what never wasn't there. I in a music lover's art have said, rare beauties, archaeologists, I care for olden strophes that are never dead. Thus William, Geoffrey, David, raise your head. Whenever glad I pioneer the past, a calming song will chant my love at last. Now, here's a fun poem. I decided I would write about my 2 cups of coffee. I drink 2 cups of coffee every morning and 2 in the evening when I begin my evening's work, which is the longer session. And I always use the same 2 mugs. They're not the huge McDonald's-style mug. They're cylindrical, but they are on the moderate side. And I have a little subtitle here. We'll share a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We'll share a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. The boon companions I would celebrate are twain. They link the morning and the night in days of work and play. Light, dark, a mate, each to the other, lovely twin delight. Loved coffee mugs, the gifts are benedict, meaning blessed, that friendship we have treasured can recall. You well adorn my mental banquet hall. A friend and fellow Russian scholar sent the one that's white, cylindrical, where 3 wild-colored panels, 4 cats each, are meant to wake us with their zany fantasy. As with Picasso, 3 musicians, we, bright geometric shapes of every kind, in vivid union harmonized will find. The second cup Dark brown and warm the glaze, the same in height, a vase-like form presents, well-rounded, pleasant to the hand. I praise the unobtrusive patterning from whence each rising gentle fan-like shape augments a reverie, a vernal nature scene that is for me nostalgic yet serene. A lady friend, a potter, highly skilled, at carvings in relief had offered here fine ginkgo leaves portrayed, the kind that filled the poet Goethe with uncommon cheer. The two-part structure of the leaf is clear. Each lyric is your own, yet other too. And that's how I these daily verses view. The cats are not domesticated, they Matician or fauvish colours show, and youthful worlds evoke, now far away, yet near in dream, where we our childhood know. The leaves, the cats, uncanny both, aglow in desk lamp light, the mind to work in nerve. The aid you share is more than I deserve. That was a longer one than usual. That actually lasted more than a page. I almost never do that. I'm a, you could say, miniaturist. Well, this one next is a bit of philosophy of life. You'll see that. I'll read it slowly. In and out, give and take. Dear humans are coherently designed, proclaimed the master of the in and out. In breathing and the passion act, they find a single movement pattern. Who can doubt that union? Skill may no inventor flout to rival this. Two variants, one drive, to keep the continuity alive. That's the thing that the passionate act and the ordinary human breathing have in common. They're both in and out. The pattern, let us hope our people see, of in and out, of sex and breath may too, as maxim of a wise morality, be used, which they as give and take might view. Thrice great remaining thus in all they do, to morals, breathing, intercourse, be true, be fruitful humans, let me say to you. Oh, this is fun, this next one. This is another childhood memory, not from quite so young, from a little older. It's called Enigmatic Solitude, and it has a long, not long, but just an epigraph, which is a quote from one of Pushkin's poems. Pushkin, Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin, was the greatest of Russian poets, as is generally agreed, and these are the conclusion lines of his poem, The Poet. No sooner does the godly word, however, touch his eager ear, than like an eagle, startled, stirred, the poet knows the time is near. His spirit boredom no more bridles, he flees the gossip of the crowd, before the feet of others' idols, that noble forehead no more bowed. Savage, severe, he runs, he roves, besieged by sounds that rush and rave, onto the shore to hear each wave, into the vast, resounding groves. Dubrov. I love that last line. My mother long ago remarked to me, your kindergarten teacher said one day, with other kids you never liked to play, but sat alone, avoiding company. What did you do? Ignored it. What did she do then? Oh, nothing. More I can't recall. I never think about the thing at all. It just returned. And then I heard the lines of Pushkin, where the youth in solitude attempted all distraction to elude, whose tone the growing poet heart confines. A wild and inner voice the boy divines. How fine to join the child-time words with those the chosen, joy-anointed poet chose. Now here, my next to last poem is maybe the most significant of the bunch. It's called Quarantine. As so often happens, I give long thought to individual words to see what their stories may be, and the word quarantine really means 40. Apparently, quarantine started out as 40-day waiting periods, and probably the most famous one certainly the most famous one I can think of, is that of Jesus in the wilderness or desert, where he spent his 40 days fasting and withstanding the 3 temptations of the devil, which were all just one temptation, and that was pride. The point of the devil and desert experience of Jesus is quell your pride. John Milton thought it was more than that. He thought it was quell your pride, and you, like Jesus, will get to heaven. You're probably familiar with many. I hope of you have even read Paradise Lost by John Milton, a feast of glorious word song. But he also wrote a poem which is one of my very favorites in the English language, called Paradise Regained. And he tells you to get paradise back again now that Adam and Eve had lost it. Well, how do you do that? According to Jesus, it has nothing to do with the cross. The way you get paradise, the way he tells you to regain paradise in his poem Paradise Regained, which, like Paradise Lost, he wrote when he was blind. Fascinating. He relies on the inner light. The way to regain paradise, according to Jesus, because he demonstrated it himself, is to withstand the 3-fold temptation of pride that was offered to Jesus by the devil in the desert. When you do that, you have regained paradise. That was first made clear in a document that resurfaced in the 20th century, having been long thought lost, De Doctrina Christiana, Concerning Christian Doctrine, by John Milton. He explains all this to you. It's full of surprises, like not mentioning the cross when you're talking about regaining paradise. Quarantine. A quarantine, or time of 40 days, that's what the word originally meant, has troubled people in unnumbered ways, yet for a higher purpose might be lent. A hidden will to barren deserts sent, a man who 40 days to fast would learn, and heaven for himself and others earn. Temptations he'd withstand, his hunger pain to gratify by making bread from stone. Perhaps, if he had been from height been thrown, be saved by angel aim, what pride he'd gain, to kneel to Satan, and by this attain the kingdoms of the world, and reign supreme. Promotions of mere selfhood, devil's dream. In Paradise Regained, brave Milton showed that if we emulate this moral guide, by conquering the strategies of pride, we'd ego's sickness from the heart unload. Behold, you burdened folk, the royal road to bliss, the hidden kingdom in the soul of quarantine, the chief redeeming goal. Now I relax for my final number with a little ditty called Joyce and Me. On a Facebook entry, my friend and colleague, the wonderful writer Jamie Riston Colbert, has posted the following quote. It's the last sentence of James Joyce's best short story called The Dead, the final story in his book Dubliners. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow. That's a perfect pentameter. Falling faintly through the universe, and faintly falling like the descent of their last end upon all the living and the dead. The music of a Chaucer Shakespeare tune. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow fall faintly through the universe. Faint fall, like the descent of their last end upon the living and the dead, who'd never know supposed tranquility of rest for all, in candour clothed, soon molten by the dawn. I feel so favoured by perfection's boon, to think, to heaven may we nearer go, For soul undaunted, prospect won't appall, since it is ardour, heart so closely drawn. To what I love, rhyme royal I bestow. The trees, upraising grace, have made me tall, and I am crowned, or ere I shall be gone. Thank you again. I'm always so grateful when you listen to my readings.